Sorry about the first broadcast there. Again, like yesterday, I set it up to fail, obviously. No, I set it up to start later. And for some reason, it forgot the orientation. It forgot that it was supposed to be landscape and not portrait. I don't know why. It did that yesterday as well. I didn't make a mistake. Anyway, dark in here, innit? Says Martin. I hope not anymore. What says Siskid Edge? And then we've got Gareth and Ren saying you can't escape me that easily, and Dark 4x4 saying yes, yes. Anyway, it's Tuesday, the 26th of November. I just kicked my tea over. So you remember yesterday I said I've run out of tea, so I thought I'd chance it. I thought I would. Oh, I'll just show you my tea that I knocked over. You can see it down here, and you can see who's lapping it up. It's Pickle. It's lapping up my tea. Do you like that tea? Do you, Pickle? Yeah. I kicked it over. Anyway, I thought I'd try the local. I thought I'd try the local black tea. It might be a terrible, terrible mistake on my part. It might be a terrible error, but I don't know. Oh, also, by the way, if we get wind on the mic, let me know, because yesterday I made a big thing about the fluffer thing on my mic, and I said, oh, it might fall off. And someone said, well, it's going to fall off. It's attached to you. It fell off and fell in the water. So yeah, don't have that today. Jungle Life. This morning I had to change the water filter for the water for the house, and that was fun. And the batteries aren't working, which is terrible. And I've just discovered that I can't take any more money out the cash machine for the rest of the month because I'm maxed out. Cool. Thanks for letting me know that before that actually happened. Yeah, just it came up. I thought it was the daily limit, but it wasn't. It was the monthly limit, which isn't that much. Surprisingly. Okay, so we've got Gin Stitcher in there. Who else have we got? Let me know. Let me know your presence. Make your presence known. We've got Dark 4x4. We've got One Angry Pagan. We've got Russell Cannon. We've got Sarah Davis. Watching you in the shower. So Super Tansky. Excuse me. Disgraceful behaviour. A rare Tansky Badger has entered the chat. And Siskin Edge says lol. And Alistair Kern says hi all in chat. Hi Graham. Hello, hello. So I thought we'd talk about incels today, because there were a couple of things. First of all, there was this horrific, like, I don't know, scientific report from this Norwegian researcher that said, you know, there's quite a few women who are in like comas and shit. Why don't we get them pregnant and then they can make babies? What? I mean, what? And this was reported in the Telegraph, because of course it was. And yeah, it just got me thinking about this whole Handmaid's Tale stroke incel culture that we are building. One of the things that really, really worried me, and you know, I find it a little bit heartbreaking, to be honest with you, is the fact that young men voted for Trump. Young white men voted for Trump in greater numbers than they did in the last election. And that really, really worries me, because one thing I had said on this channel a few times, I said, what gives me hope is the younger generation are much nicer. The younger generation just seem to be more empathetic than the older generation. They seem to care more about each other, about the environment, about our shared future, and just things in general. They seem to have more empathy. And yet, why are they voting for Trump? Well, Trump is like the king of the incels. Well, actually, Musk is the king of the incels. But those two men represent this unattainable dream of, you know, weirdos. And the dream is this: I can have any woman I want, I can have as many children as I want with a load of women, and I can get them all to live in a compound together in Texas or in Florida, and they'll all be happy. And I can put up a picture from the front cover of a tabloid article that said I was the best fuck in the world, and I can put that up in my office regarding the fact that I had sex with a woman who wasn't my wife while still married to my wife, who I raped. Yeah, that's Trump, by the way. That's literally what Trump did. He's not a very nice man. But the incels absolutely love him, because he, to them, represents that unattainable dream of being weird, treating women like shit, and still getting a girlfriend. You see, those three things hardly ever go together in real life. And the incel culture has been, I mean, it was a toxic culture that kind of began on 4chan, and other places, in chat rooms, maybe a little bit on Reddit as well. And this idea is that if you can't get yourself a girlfriend, it's not it's not something that you need to work on. It's something that women need to work. Like it's women's fault. And it's like, well, no, it's not the way it works. I've been single. I've been single for a few years. It was, I had some fun, but generally speaking, I think I'd much rather be in a relationship. Thank you very much. And whereas these disgusting pickup artists, as they call themselves, like that Andrew Tate creep, can go up to women and be horrible to them because they're rich and sometimes get away with it. Maybe you might be able to pick someone up for the night, but a long-term relationship with that kind of toxic mentality, I mean, you might find a woman who doesn't mind it, but most women are going to be like, no thanks, no thanks. There's plenty of men out there who aren't completely toxic. Jennifer says hello. Alistair is there. We've got Kevin in the chat. We've got Alistair again. We've got Sarah, California Man, Cisco Edge, Jesus Christ. What the fuck? Oh my God. Your body, my choice, exemplified. Well, yes, California Man. But this report was done by a woman. It was a woman's. It was like a woman who came up with this report saying, oh yeah, we should artificially inseminate women in comas. I mean, it was just, it's staggering. It's absolutely staggering that would be something that, like, outside the realms of a sick horror Hollywood movie, just wrong on so many levels. Is anyone surprised to her coming from the Trump camp? Exemplified even, or I may or may not be coherent today, it seems. Lucian saying we love you, Tan. I'm voluntary celibate because I will probably never see myself as good enough. Well, I mean, that's voluntary then. It's not like you're blaming other people for that. And it's difficult. It's not like you can just snap your fingers. I mean, I remember when, I was single, and there was a few times when I was just like, what the hell am I doing? If you went somewhere and there's a woman you liked or whatever, and then she went and got off with someone else, and you were just like, oh, cool. This is like being a teenager again. But yeah, especially at your party. Afternoon or morning, Graham. Hi, Tiz. Labour is going to be blindsided by this. I know the plural line, there's not data, but the vast majority of boys in my daughter's year 9, so age 13, 14, are totally captured by reform. And that doesn't surprise me. I'm hearing a lot of anecdotal evidence about young men at that age being taken in by the right wing of, like, simple solutions to complex problems, and this idea that things were better, before they were born, which is weird because, like, normally you kind of think of things being better when you were younger, not before you were born. But they're right in many ways when it comes to how many hours you have to work just to put a roof over your head. That number has trebled over the last few years. I mean, the fact that in the 1970s you could buy a house and raise a family on one income, one like pretty mediocre income on the greater scale of things, but house prices weren't through the roof and mortgages weren't through the roof and rent wasn't through the roof, through the leaking roof. What have we got here? And these were the voters at the next election. Yes, this is why we need to talk about it, SG. You can improve yourself, not for someone else, but for yourself. Though I kind of started gym to break a bad pattern, lol, says Siskin Edge. Andrew Tate is a toxic person. Reform and taint seems a deadly combination for these boys. Yes, because they get into their heads. They go, you're a teenager. I don't remember what it was like when you're a teenager. You're just raging hormones. You don't know what's going on. Your body's just become very strange all of a sudden, and like, I can see why young men in particular are taken in by this life of glamour that, Trump, this is tacky shite is. I just think Trump's taste is just disgusting in everything. Like a golden toilet, and I've seen like pictures of his apartments, his penthouse apartments or whatever in Trump Tower, and it's just so tacky. It's like, I don't know, like they have this idea that they're living like Egyptian pharaohs or Roman emperors, but Greek pharaohs and Greek pharaohs, well, there were Greek pharaohs actually, Egyptian pharaohs, and then the Greek pharaohs, which ended in the line of Cleopatra VII. The Ptolemaic dynasty. Um, they were never that tacky. They were never that tacky. It just looks cheap. It just looks like everything is just a veneer of gold. It's like you've bought a sink from the middle of the fucking aisle in Lidl, and the you painted it gold. You know, you bought some gold paint from Games Workshop and just painted the taps with it. It's just tacky, and but you know, I guess some people look at that and go, "Wow, cool, that looks great." But yeah, Andrew Tate and Trump and Musk being these sort of leaders of the incel movement and all being filthy rich, usually by dint of either criminal activity or nepotism, being a nepo baby, usually a bit of both. Yeah, that they represent an unattainable goal. And what it is, it's kind of like the flip side of what happens with women with the unattainable goal of beauty. And me and Tansky were talking about the film The Substance last night because you watched it for the first time. And it's a brilliant film. It's absolutely brilliant. Demi Moore plays this older star of the silver screen, and she loses her job, and she thinks she'll never be beautiful again, and she goes to these extreme lengths to try to stop herself from aging. And this is an unattainable beauty goal that women feel like they have to attain. Hence, you know, which makes lots of money for the pharmaceutical industry, for the makeup industry. You know, any YouTuber or TikToker who does, you know, a get ready with me tutorial about putting on makeup, plastic surgeons make a fuck ton of money. And it's all based on this unachievable goal of looking like Scarlett Johansson or looking like, I don't know, Anna de Armas or someone. And that's unattainable, you know? You've got the face you've got, and yeah, I mean, that it's fine. It's fine. But you can see how young women and older women as well are manipulated into falling into this trap of feeling like they need to look better, their boobs need to be bigger, their bum needs to be bigger, they need to have a thinner waist, etc., etc. Unachievable beauty goals, and that's the women's side of it. The men's side of it is this incel unachievable lifestyle goals of loads of money and private jets and supercars and things like that. And actually, there's a bit of a crossover there. There is a bit of a crossover because you see the unattainable body image that people like Andrew Tate put out, and you know, going to the gym and becoming beefcake and all that kind of shit, and having no cock. In the case of Andrew Tate, for some reason. But then there's also the crossover with women. If you watch or read the 50 Shades of Grey books or films, that it's not just about the fact that Christian Grey is an incredibly handsome and charismatic man. He's not particularly charismatic, but neither is she, but never mind. It's about his lifestyle. They're selling the lifestyle. They're selling the glamour of his private jet. You know, there's a scene in one of the films where he turns up in a private jet, or he's like they're walking across the tarmac and they get to the private jet, and she goes, "Is this yours?" Oscar-winning performing acting there. I mean, just give all the Oscars to her. She goes, "Is this yours?" And she knows he's a multi-billionaire, and like she's shocked that he's got a private jet. It's a bit of a weird scene, but a big part of the fantasy of 50 Shades, apart from the S&M and everything, is the fact that he's such a rich man who always gets what he wants until this woman comes along and she says no for a little bit, and then she says yes, and then she says no again, but then she says yes. I mean, it's just, yeah. And then there's a helicopter crash and everyone survives and no one ever mentions it again. The key thing I found with trust issues, I have them I know, is not to treat trust as an absolute rather than treat it as a scale. This change really helped me on multiple levels. Yeah. Also, I mean, I tend to, I mean, you're not going to believe this, probably. But hang on. I'm just going to set my camera up a little bit better because it's not quite straight and it's annoying me. You might not believe this, but I'm kind of like a pessimist, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the shows where I've been arguing with people that Trump might win. I mean, I sort of look at something that I'd like to do, something that I'd like to achieve, something like to attain, or something that I would like to happen, right? whether to me or to someone else or the world or whatever. And my first instinct is, but it probably won't. So say I, scored a date with a hot girl, a hot chick, or a hot bloke. Who knows? It might be a Friday night. I might be drunk. I score a date, and then part of me just thinks they're not going to turn up. They're not going to turn up. And then when they do turn up, I'm like, oh wow, they turned up, and I'm excited about the fact that they didn't turn up. And if they don't turn up, I'm kind of like, well, I thought they wouldn't turn up anyway, so no harm done. I don't cry myself to sleep. So that's what I try to do. I try not to get myself too excited about certain outcomes. We were trying not to jinx the election with Labour, even though we wanted it to be a complete rout for the Tory party. We didn't want to actually say that, out loud too much. And the same with Trump. I didn't want to allow myself, and I did. And in the end, I did, because looking at it from the scale of like the future of humanity, I found it very, very difficult, towards the end, to envisage a world in which Trump won, because he's so damaging, he's so toxic. He is he is a nuclear explosion. He is Fat Man. He is the Tsar Bomber. He is this nuke going off, this set primed to explode, that is going to take out so many people on this planet, not just people in America. And this is breaking my heart, talking to friends of mine in America who are having to move. They're having to move house, whether internally in America, away from states that are bringing in these horrific, horrific laws, banning books, banning abortions, banning IVF, banning gay marriage. Gay marriage is going to be out the window under Trump. It's part of Project 2025. So thousands, hundreds of thousands of gay marriages are going to be annulled, and all of the benefits that come from being married are going to be taken away from people. So I know people who are moving internally in America to places like California, and I also know people who are moving out, just literally getting out of America while they can, because of the horrific situation that they're going to be facing when this bomb goes off. And it's not just the people in America. He's going to introduce tariffs on goods coming in from Canada. So he's declaring war on Canada for some reason. Who declares war on Canada? Yeah, I know, exactly. I know technically Hitler did, but not really, because we declared war on him. But that aside, like, who declares war on Canada? And then you've got Mexico as well, which is going to get tariffs slapped on it. And yeah, you're going to get people, probably more in Mexico than in Canada, who are going to lose their livelihoods. They're going to lose everything they've worked for their entire lives. And then you've got people around the world who are going to die because of climate change. We have people die in Wales this week because of climate change. As simple as that. We don't normally get these mad floods every couple of years. We are getting them now because of climate change. And that is just a small, small proportion of the horrors that are to come with these fuckers in charge, like Musk and Trump and Putin and, these leaders who have attained political power by being fucking evil and being well-funded evil. Unlike our side, which is not funded at all. It's all a bake sale. It's all a charity fucking bake sale here on the left. Don't give us any money. We don't need it. It's all right. We can just live off air. We go to the petrol station and we're like, can we put some fuel in the car? And they're like, yeah, put some fuel in the car. And then they're like, do you want to pay for it? And we're like, no, I've got loads of people subscribed to my YouTube channel. And they're like, okay, I don't give a fuck. You need to pay me money. You need to pay me money for the fuel that you've just put in your car. Oh shit, you need to pay me money for the food that you just got from the supermarket. Oh fuck, do I have to pay for that? Yeah, you have to pay me money for your rent. Oh shit, I've got to pay rent, I've got to pay a mortgage, got to pay. Oh fucking hell, this is a bit shit, isn't it? Maybe I should go to the right. Maybe I should go to the right and get loads of fucking money and have, sleep at night. Well, I won't be able to sleep at night because I'll be on the right. But there you go, at least I'll be in a comfy bed and I won't be cold or too hot. One angry pagan, what I mentioned kind of works in a closed cycle loop unless we break it. I've seen Musk described as an Austin Powers villain. Yeah, he really is. He's very much Dr. Evil. So yeah, why do we need to do something about the incel movement now? Because Farage is on the fucking attack. Farage is gonna, and I had this huge argument with Phil the other day about whether Farage will actually take over the Tory party. I still think he will. I don't see it as outside the realms of possibility. That he would do that, and I'm thinking his ego would love it if he was the guy who saved the Tory party and led them to an actual success in 2029. There's a hilarious petition going at the moment. I mentioned this yesterday. I think it's got like 3 million votes, 3 million signatures, and half of them are like Keir Starmer. And it's absolute bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. But yeah, it's calling for a general election right now. But the polls are worrying. The polls are worrying that, you know, Labour are not hitting the ground running in the way that we kind of wanted them to. I mean, I guess they can't because the Tories salted the earth in advance with this £22 billion black hole, amongst other things, and Brexit. But yeah, Labour could be doing a lot more. So I'm hoping that we can address this issue quickly. It's because, you know, with the incels. So we talked about misinformation, we talked about disinformation, how we combat that. We need to think of clever ways, like what the right do. We need to think of clever ways of addressing young men and bringing them back to the good side, or maybe just not allowing them to fall to the dark side of the force. David, thank you very much for the 38 Hong Kong dollars. Pessimism, anything that can go wrong and doesn't go wrong is just waiting for a much worse time to go wrong. Yeah, I don't know if I'm a pessimist. I might just be people say I'm not a pessimist, I'm a realist, but I tend to try and, you know, not get myself too excited about stuff just in case it doesn't work out. But then I get ahead of myself and I do get excited. Late arrival. What I've missed. Here's my shirt. Oh, thank you very much, Paul. That's very kind of you for the £2 super chat from Paul Newman. Who will be leader of the Tories at the next general election, says Tansky. Yeah, I had a huge row with Phil about this because Phil was just like, no, there's no way that he will possibly become, because it's not his grift. Like he needs to grift, and that's why. And I was just like, he wants power. You know, he's a narcissist. He wants to be. Does he not want to be Prime Minister of the United Kingdom? If you know, the Tory party is the next vessel that this tapeworm that is Nigel Farage can kind of infest, like why would he not infest that carcass of the bloody Tory party, and then, you know, lead it to success after a terrible leadership for a few years by Kemi Badenoch, who is bloody awful, as we keep saying at PMQs each week. To be honest, I don't really see how to change their mind. Maybe redirect to real baddies, billionaires, etc. I do, Svak. So it's social media. Young people consume social media at such an incredible rate, and it's getting people to make TikToks that get the young men on side. So stuff that is an attainable goal. So, you know, I would like to see more shows where it's just, you know, not necessarily a pickup artist thing, but where it's like, here's how to keep your girlfriend. You know, here's how to get a girlfriend, not a pickup, a girlfriend. Here's how to get women to respect you. There you go. There's a good fucking line for a YouTube video. You get a young YouTuber, you get a young TikToker to make a video saying, here's how you get women to respect you. Don't be a fucking bigot. Don't be a misogynist. Don't treat them like shit. Don't think that rape is something to joke about, you know, etc., etc. And have enough of those voices, right? So it's not just one person doing this. We have a small army of people making these kind of videos, and they don't have to get they don't have to make fucking money, you know? This is the problem on the left. Everything's got to make money. Oh, you know, make your YouTube video and it'll make loads of money. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. We need to control, we need to grab the narrative. When I talked about setting up a think tank, it wasn't just for videos, it wasn't just for that, it was also for Substack, it was also for research papers. Like, it would be brilliant if we could make research papers as well. Have a foundation, we all get paid, we're all working together, but individually. Like, we all sing from our own hymn sheet, we have our own channels, and there's no overall, like, micromanaging control of the content we put out, because there is none on the other side. I tell you, fucking Alec Jones and that dickhead, the horrible fucking weird guy, the wrestling guy, what's his name, the wrestling commentator, Rogan, they don't ask permission of Elon Musk or Trump to chuttle their balls. They just fucking do it. It doesn't help that social media and right wing inherently favours the right wing. Honestly, I'm going to defend YouTube here and TikTok and social media. That's the content. That's the content that's getting out there. There is hardly any content. The progressive left, respectful of women, respectful of minorities, respectful of different identities. You know, that stuff isn't being made. There's very few people making that stuff, and the stuff that it is out there, it's not getting watched because you've got to reach a critical mass in order for this stuff to really get out there. If we had 20 young people who we were paying, like, do a thirst trap, have a beautiful young woman who's like, hi boys, here's how you keep me. Here's how you could keep me, as a woman, as a girlfriend. Like this, these are my red flags. This is my red flag list. Hello boys, they're looking fucking sensational. And then people will go, oh, I'll have to listen to what she's got to say because she's gorgeous. And then she'll say, how about treating women really well? But at the moment, those kind of videos are either jiggle about to music or let's get ready, let's put some makeup on. And that's, or it's like a really, really, really heavy political thing about Trump and how he is going to destroy everything, which he is. But I don't think that's going to appeal to me because I'd watch that video. So that sounded really misogynistic. I'd watch a video of a young, attractive woman telling me how shit Trump is. Well, I watch videos of old, gruesome men telling me how awful Trump is. I'll watch any videos of someone telling me how awful Trump is. But there are ways that we can address this ourselves that we seem to be waiting for someone to come along like some big fucking savior and go, oh, it's all right, I'll do it. And no one's going to do it. No one's going to do it. I learned this very early on in life. Like, if you want something fucking done, you've got to fucking do it. Because sitting around waiting for someone to knock on your door and say, hey, Graham, I hear you're really good at writing film scripts. Would you mind writing me a film script? Here's a load of money to write a film script. It's not going to happen. You've got to put yourself out there. My role model growing up was Steve Irwin. He was one of the best humans who ever lived, in my opinion. He did dangle a baby in front of a crocodile once, though. Well, that was quite funny. Fartage leader of the Tories. Yep, if Bojo was Farage, would be on time. 2025 is going to be a grim old year, says Plum Duff. Something I just want to say about this. Edwin Hayward, who's well worth a follow, by the way. He's the writer of Slaying Brexit Unicorns. He was writing, if you're not American and you can't do anything about what's happening in America, it might be a good idea to just avoid all news from America for the next couple of years because it's just going to depress the shit out of you and there's nothing you can do about it. And he said, you're going to find out about the big stuff anyway, and the world ends, well, the world will end. But yeah, no use worrying about it. So long and thanks for all the fish. 2025, Idiocracy meets Handmaid's Tale in the US, absolutely. Joe Rogan endorsed Bernie Sanders in 2020. Kamala Harris didn't turn up on Joe Rogan in case of left-wing whiplash. What's this? Someone saying Joe Rogan isn't left wing, isn't far right wing. He's a liberal, says Siskin-Edge. No, he's not, Siskin-Edge. That's bullshit. He platforms Nazis on his channel, which is listened by loads of people. That's his choice. He chooses to platform time and time again absolute wingnuts with funny voices like Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro and have them come on and just spout the most horrific shit on his major platform. If that was the BBC and they were having, it was Wogan and it was the show that everyone watched on a fucking Friday night, and he had on Enoch Powell to come and talk about how bad immigrants were, that we'll be up in arms. We'll be like, what are you doing? Why are you getting someone on your chat show? Aren't you supposed to just have like actors and musicians and stuff? Why have you got a guy who's a massive racist coming on your show being a big fucking racist? But there you go. But cleaning up social media is an important start, if only to contain the spread. Gallifreyan Rent, frankly, I have no hope things will improve. The world kicks down as a disabled trans person at the bottom of the ladder, unless an earwig goes by, I suppose. Well, Gallifreyan Rent, I think that in the last few years, I've noticed an uptick of people defending trans rights like never before. I think mainly because they understand that trans rights are under attack. I think a lot of people understand that trans rights go first, and then gay rights go, and then women's rights, and it always goes in that, minority rights, it always goes in that order. I think that there's a lot of people who are now a lot more vocal about their support for the trans community. This is just my experience. I don't know. I mean, I haven't drilled down into the data on this, but it feels like more people are now prepared to stand up and call out bigotry wherever they see it, especially when it comes to transphobia, because they get it. They finally get it. And I think it was something that until like I thought this until I did an episode of Pubcast with a non-binary person and a trans woman back in 2020. One of whom is a really good friend of mine. And I said, you know, during the interview, I said, well, you know, I'm a cis, nominally het, middle-aged, middle-class white man. Like, what do I have to say on this subject? It's nothing to do with me. And they were like, no, it is to do with you, Graham, because we need support. We need people talking out because there's so few of us. We need that support. And up till that point, I thought, well, it would be like me going on a Black Lives Matter demonstration. And would that be appropriate for me to do that? I don't know. I would like to show solidarity with the BLM movement, but I'm not black. Would that not be a bit weird? But no, they were like, no, please give us the support. So, you know, and obviously I'm happy to do that. But I think in terms of people's awareness of trans rights, because of the backlash against the transphobia that's been espoused by the people like Sharon Davis and J.K. Rowling and others and Graham Linehan, you know, these people are just, they're evidently not well. But unfortunately, they've got massive platforms and they're incredibly rich. Well, Graham Linehan's not rich, apparently. You know, you can't sue him because he's got no money. Rogan spread so many lies, it's unbelievable. Yeah, he's an anti-vaxxer as well. He's an anti-fucking-vaxxer, which is a mass murderer in my book. You know, he's going to make, him and his ilk are going to make American children pay the anti-vax tax. Do you know what the anti-vax tax is? Dead at the age of 5. That's the anti-vax tax. Little tiny coffin, little red coffin to put your little child in, because they've died of an easily preventable disease because you didn't get them vaccinated, because you weren't allowed to, because Robert F. Kennedy decided that vaccines were poison for some reason, because he read something once online and he went, yeah, that's it. That's the problem in the world. Doctors, pediatricians, vaccinating children. That's the biggest problem we have in the world. Let me tell you, my sister died of cervical cancer, right? And if she had been able to have the HPV vaccination when she was 12, back in the 1970s, she would still be with us today. End of discussion, right? Shut the fuck up. My sister is dead because she couldn't be vaccinated against something that now women can be vaccinated against. And the rate of cervical cancer in 20-year-olds, 20 to 30-year-olds who have had the HPV vaccination at the age of 12 has gone off a cliff. Very interesting that one of the there was a head teacher of one of the schools, a female head teacher of one of these elite, probably public schools for girls, who didn't want the girls in her school getting vaccinated against HPV because she thought it would make them promiscuous. What a fucking what a cunt. Oh, sorry, I just demonetized the thing. I'm sorry, just no. My girlfriend's deaf because she couldn't get vaccinated against measles, and my sister's dead because she couldn't get vaccinated against cervical cancer, well, HPV, at the time. So yeah, anti-vaxxers can go to hell. Like, if there's anyone who's anti-vax watching this, fuck off. Just stop watching this channel. Go find some other fucking hellhole in the other side of the internet to watch. I don't want you watching this. It's not for you. This is just for sensible people who care about, I don't know, children not dying. But there you go. There you go. Sarah Davis, I'm so grateful for the support from you and everyone here. I'll thank Sarah. You know, like you and other people who are trans who watch our channel here. We really appreciate you. We really appreciate the fact that you support us and that you keep us afloat. You keep us lively, and you keep us on course as well, because it's very easy if you fall into the wrong crowd to just sort of laugh along at the wrong jokes, and then you find yourself going down some really horrible routes. And another thing that I'll talk about when we're talking about young people, incel culture, how do you fight against it? Humor. Humor is such a massive thing that helps. And the fact that you've got all these horrible, gruesome old comics like Ricky Gervais going on stage and punching down against trans people now, for no reason. He doesn't need to do that. He's rich. The speech he gave at the Golden Globes when he roasted the shit out of Hollywood, Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, all that kind of stuff. That was brilliant because he was punching up. He was punching up. He was taking the glamorous rich elite of Hollywood. He was taking them down a peg or two. I'm all up for that. That's fine. But then a few years later, he's on stage going, ha, 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 I don't like trans people. It's like, oh my God, really? And it's not just that the subject matter was unsettling and, horrible. It's also like just completely unappealing, like unfunny, I should say. It just wasn't funny. Like he started making jokes about rape and it was just like, really? Are you going to go there? Is this where you need to go now to be edgy? And I think he was trying to get himself cancelled because there's a lot of money in getting yourself cancelled these days, as many people know. Colin Baker, thank you very much for your contribution to my swear box. Thank you very much. That's why I got like Russell Harris. Intersection with Rachel Harris tomorrow night. Yes, we're talking about neurodiversity tomorrow on the show on the Intersection, so look out for that. It's going to be live. No, it's going to be live. It's going to be what's it called, a premiere. So you can join the chat. So 6 p.m. UK time tomorrow. There'll be a live. It won't be live. Sorry, a pre-recorded episode of the Intersection, but it goes out as if it was live. So you can add your comments as it goes. I'm offended. I'm in no way sensible. There is a clip of Trump helping St. and Greavesy with the League Cup draw. Does the little red coffin have MAGA stenciled on it? Yeah, it does. Well, it should do, Well, you look at how many older people died in America as a result of Trump's bullshit about what's it called? COVID, He fucked people around on COVID. And he didn't. I don't think he actually explicitly told people not to get vaccinated, but he supported people who were telling people not to get vaccinated. So these older people didn't get vaccinated, and then they fucking died of this deadly disease, which was called COVID, the biggest pandemic in over a century, and it killed millions of people worldwide. It killed hundreds of thousands of Americans. Trump, before he left office, had killed more people with COVID in America that didn't need to die than died in the American Civil War. But they re-elected him. Hyperfixation is a real issue for those of us with neurodivergence. Yes. I know. You're talking to the guy who went to every country in the world without flying. That's quite some hyperfixation. Twitter is an absolute cesspit, says Perry. Yeah, don't bother with it anymore. Come over to Sky or Threads or Facebook. You can follow me on Facebook, and I am posting daily videos from the island here, letting you know how we're getting on. I'm a bit concerned. So I went to get some money out yesterday from the cash machine. It said you're taking your daily limit. So I was like, oh bollocks. So I thought, well, I'll stay in town until just after midnight, and then I'll punch the numbers in again and take some more money out, because I've got to pay the guys for the soil. And then I got a notification on my phone this morning. I didn't actually do that. I came back, and I got a notification on my phone this morning, and it was like, your monthly limit. You've hit your monthly limit for how much you're allowed to take from the cash machine. And I'm like, what? There's a monthly limit? Yeah, there is. And it's quite low. But if you want to help us out, I'm just going to have to transfer money straight to a bank account. You'll think that would be cheaper than getting it out from a cash machine, but it's actually cheaper to get it out from the cash machine and pay the $6.80 to get it out from the cash machine here. And the maximum you can take out in one transaction is $250. So if you're taking like $1,000 out, then you've got to pay $680. You've got to pay that for 4 times to take the money out. But it's still cheaper than doing an electronic transfer, if you can believe that. The fees are mad, which is very frustrating. It's not like they have some mad currency here. They used US dollars. They literally used US dollars. And I've got a dollar account, so I don't understand why they charge me so much. Hyperfixations are kind of my catnip with men. Says Siskin Edge. One angry pagan says, doesn't lessen the quality of his music, in my opinion. Art, not artist. What are we talking about here? Are we talking about bad? Are we talking about Russell Howard? I didn't know he made music. I like hyperfixating, fix it. Well, what was I? My blood pressure is way up as there's a lot going on with benefits in a court case in Scotland that'll change everything in my life. I just took a reading. It's 178 to over 116. Need to chill out. Yeah, it's I mean, I've got it. Yes, you need to chill out. It's, yes, chill out, server. It never works, does it? You've got to calm down. But I can understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling at the moment. I'm sorry if the wind is blowing on the mic. I try to use my body as a shield. My wings are like a shield of steel. Listen, Sarah, I'm really sorry that like things are stressful at the moment. And I think Edwin Hayward had a pretty good fucking view on it there, where he said, just don't watch the news. Just don't be following this stuff, because if you can't affect it, if you can't do anything about it personally, then it's just going to stress you out. And I really do feel, and this is for everyone watching, like the next few years are going to be difficult for all of us. They're going to be difficult for everyone who is progressive, everyone who's on the left, everyone who's neurodiverse. It's going to be difficult for everyone who's a minority. It's going to be difficult for pretty much everyone who's not a complete, horrible, white, cishet, middle-aged, middle-class prick. It's gonna be horrible, and we need to stick together. We need to make sure that our little gangs support each other and make sure that we're there for each other when we're having these moments of just thinking, what the fuck? Like seriously, what the fuck? And it's important that we remember that all this too shall end. And there's and what we can do that would be of immense help to people is just be there. Is just show our faces. Is just a friendly chat, a friendly message that can really help people get through the day. And I really get that. Community is what it's the family we build for ourselves, and the more we do that, the better, as far as I'm concerned. If it's cheaper by cash machine than Panama, it's probably charging excessive fees to banks. Yeah, probably. Get mad, get angry, get revenge. I'm curled up under a duvet and playing with a virtual train set. It's my coping mechanism, says Gallifreyan Ren. Yeah. If you've got a coping mechanism, fucking use it. Absolutely. My heart rate is like 58 RN. I hyperfixate on a lot of things, but there's only one. Only one is a lifelong hyperfixation, natural world and its history. Alistair Kem, Sarah Davis court case in Scotland. What one you don't know? If you don't mind, if it stresses you out, then don't. I'll look into that. 14 years of difficulty followed by some more difficulty. Fabulous, says Acro Dave. This community helps me cope. Yeah, Diz, I'm the same. I'm the same, mate. This community helps me cope. And my WhatsApp gang with the other streamers and the other YouTubers and TikTokers and people like Tansky, that really helps. If I ever just have a bit of a wobble or whatever, Aid's always there to shout your dad's balls at you in capital letters for some reason, which helps. I don't know why it helps, but it just helps. He's a very rude man. I love him. Supreme Court to hear case on definition of a woman. Oh, for fuck's sake, really? Jesus Christ. It's like, is there nothing happening in the world? Is there not anything better going on, better to fixate on? Do you know what I mean? Like, is there nothing? Are we not undergoing the biggest mass extinction event since the fucking end of the dinosaurs? Are we not? Is that not happening right now? Are the sea levels not rising? Is my island not going underwater? Because it fucking is. I'll pick my camera up and show you. Although our defences are doing all right. They're not. Yesterday we got a bit flooded, and we were looking at the areas where the water was coming in, and we're going to do something about that today. If you can help us out with that, the link's in the description. Just a couple of bags of soil would really help. Although I'm not going to be able to take the money out from the bank. I'm up shit creek on this because I've got a bunch of stuff that I've got to pay for. Like, for instance, okay, I can probably put the guys off for paying for the soil until the weekend when I will be able to access the money again. However, I've got to pay for their fuel. Like they've got to buy fuel to come here, and it costs $80 a day to do 4 trips. It's just because, fuel is expensive here, and they're using an outboard motor, and it uses a lot of fucking fuel. The days of having ships powered by, I don't know, some kind of like natural event, like some natural process, like, I don't know, the sun or the wind. The wind. Could you imagine that? Like a ship. You could have like a big sheet. You could have a big sheet in the middle, right? And you could like put it on a big stick, call it a mast. We put it on a mast, right? And you'd have a big sheet, and it'd be kind of like triangular shapes, right? And what that sheet would do, let's call it a sail. It would catch the wind, right, which is blowing at the moment, and it would propel you through the water at about 5 miles an hour. That'd be good. Wouldn't that? Alice Sturm says, Graham, it may be a good result if the way Scottish law works. I'll need to look into it myself. I hope it's a good result. Take heart, there's no way a nonsense will survive contact with reality. Remember, there are trans men that will absolutely troll them to make a point. Well, this is the thing, like, everyone forgets about trans men. We did an episode on the intersection where Rachel talked to a trans masked person, and they feel like they are just like kind of left out the conversation because people fixate on trans women and this mythical criminal who wants to dress up like a woman so they can go into the women's toilets and watch them wee, because that's something that people do. If you do harass someone in the toilet like that, it's a crime, whether you're a man or a woman, whether you're a trans man or a trans woman. But there's 2 things that just seem really self-defeating with the anti-trans movement. One is that there's a lot of women who could, they don't look traditionally feminine. Let's just put it that way. I don't want to be horrible. I don't want to say they're minging or nothing, but they might not be. They just don't look traditionally feminine. Maybe they're a bit butch. Maybe they've got short hair, but they're going, "Oh, we want to stop trans women using the women's bathroom." And you're like, "Yeah, but if you do that, how are you going to check? You got to ask everyone to drop their pants on the way into the bloody, And what about trans women who are fully transitioned? What? That you need to use the one at birth. I'm like, all it's going to do to you, right, woman who looks a bit butch, is it means that every time you go to the toilet in a public place, you're going to get challenged. You're going to get shit every time you need a wee. So we're going to stop you. It's bad enough trying to go for a wee in a public place when you're a woman anyway because of architectural sexism, because 99.9% of architects are men, and they make the women's toilet space as exactly the same size as the men's toilet space, because men. And men don't need that much space because they can use a urinal trough and they can all budge in together, whereas women need more space because they need a cubicle each. Instead of making the women's toilets substantially bigger than the men's when they built Wembley fucking Stadium, they just made the men's the same size as the women's, and as such, there's not a queue for the men's. There's never a queue for the men's. There's always a queue for the women's. Whenever you're go to a service station on a bank holiday designed by a man, and you guarantee you'll go and, if you're a bloke, you can leave it to the last fucking second to get to pull off the motorway and run to the toilet. Women can't. Women know that they're going to have to fucking queue, because the women's toilet is going to have the same footprint as the men's toilet. So not only are you having to deal with that, you're also going to have to deal with women in the toilet going, "Hey, you don't look feminine enough for me. You don't look traditionally feminine enough for me. And so I'm going to accuse you of being trans and tell you that you're not allowed to use this toilet." Go and use a disabled toilet. Yeah, like trans people are disabled. Are they? Really? Make that person who's actually disabled and in a wheelchair, make them wait. While an able-bodied person uses the toilet that some bigot wants them to use. It's ridiculous. And it's a throwback to the 1940s, isn't it? The 50s, the separation of toilets. If anyone's seen the movie Hidden Figures, where she has to run to the other side of the fucking campus because she needs to go to the toilet, and she's black and she has to use a separate toilet to the white women because that's the way it's done. The Pentagon, fun fact, the Pentagon's got more toilets than it needs. The Pentagon's got more toilets than any building in the world because it was built when segregation was a thing, and they built double the amount of toilets because they had to build toilets for black people and toilets for white people who were working in the Pentagon. because they weren't allowed to use the same toilets. Because, you know, if you use the same toilet as a black woman, she might assault you. If you use the same toilet as a black man in the men's toilet, he might attack you. You know what black people are like? They might attack you. That's something they do, you know. Oh, look, here's an article about one black person who committed a crime once. So that means that all black people are potential criminals. We need to stop. What was it that J.K. Rowling said? We need to stop presuming innocence of certain minorities. Was that what she said? Fucking asshole. She's such a cunt. Sorry. If I wasn't demonetized before, I am now. Give a shit. But yeah, the making it more difficult for your own life, and then you've got the knock-on thing of like trans men. If you're going to demand that you know your selected sex at birth, and I've spoken to paediatricians who assure me that sometimes it's just guesswork. You know, your assigned sex at birth is the toilet that you have to use, and there are very, very masculine-looking trans men who, you know, I wouldn't want to walk into. Well, you know, they're not bad looking, so I don't know, but like you know, I wouldn't like to walk down a darkened alley and walk into one of them because I think, bloody hell, he's going to beat the shit out of me. But I'm sure they're all lovely and have hearts of gold. But yeah, the idea that these very, very masculine-looking men with big fucking muscles and a beard are supposed to use the women's toilets, and that'll make women feel less concerned about something. It's just bizarre. It's just like the logic of it falls apart like wet cake. Sorry to steal a Tansky line there, but I like it. It's look less butch and more don't conform to impossible standards. Who makes long fingernails compatible with keyboards and game controllers? True. Exactly. I don't see any problem with just putting floor-to-ceiling partitions. No one ever talks about hermaphrodites who are born with both sexes. Ooh, that's such a gift of a sub. One Angry Pagan says, the only thing I take a morsel of comfort in, at least it's nowhere near the level of mass extinction that took place at the end of the Permian era. Oh, well, that's all right then. It blows my mind that anyone needs to discuss, let alone inspect a person's genitalia. Yeah, the genital police, the GOP in America, the genital obsessed party. It's like, it's just fucking weird. Like there was a cartoon in the Viz, the toilet inspectors, and that was meant to be funny. Like it was meant to be like, who would actually do that? But yeah, that's what J.K. Rowling wants to do. She wants to sit outside the toilet at the National Express bus station in Newcastle, and when people go into the toilet, she wants to stop them and say, I need to see your genitals now to ensure that you should be allowed to go into this toilet. That's what she wants her life to be, you know, sitting outside a toilet, being a toilet monitor. Very strange woman. Fun fact, measure mansions by minimum toilets. 5 is near Yorkshire, poor for Beverly Hills. I have this real novel idea. Why don't everyone just stop being a dick to each other? That would be nice, Duke Vengeance. But I made a cup of tea and then I spilt the cup of tea before I could even drink it in front of you to tell you whether it tasted anything like what a cup of tea should taste like. And, you know, I made the tea in the kettle and I walked all the way down here to the boat dock with the cup of tea and my massive bottle of ice water, which I'm going to take a sip out of. I hope you don't mind. Sorry, one second. There we go. Oh God, I'm making dad noises. Did you hear that? I went, I wonder if that's a universal thing. Someone should call into Mystery Hour and ask if everyone in the world, after taking taking like a drink of cold something or hot something, goes afterwards. Is that a universal thing, or was it just a British thing? Natalie Wynn said in her vid that anti-trans women might be afraid to accept that men in their lives are the real danger, fathers, brothers, husbands, etc. Thus misplacement. Really good point. It's that ContraPoints. I fucking love her. She's brilliant. Yeah. Okay, so here's an uncomfortable truth. If someone means you harm in this life, it is more likely to be someone that you know than someone that you don't. And my personal anecdote on this is I travelled to every country in the world alone, on a shoestring budget, taking public transport everywhere, buses and bush taxis from the sketchiest parts, the sketchiest towns, sketchiest cities in the world. And I never got mugged. I never got robbed. I never got attacked. I never got beaten up. Never got into a fight. Because no one had a beef with me. I wasn't there long enough for people to have a beef with me. Whereas If people build up the resentment to do you harm, they need to know you. It's just human nature. But this idea of stranger danger, of, there's people waiting around the corner of every, in every town, in every city in the world, just waiting to do you harm. It's not true. I mean, they might snatch your phone out your hand, so be careful of that in London. But I mean, generally speaking, when someone does something horrible to you, it's got to be someone that you know, and that's doubly true of women. It's why in America, amongst the deeply horrific stats about guns in America, the one that really upsets me the most is the fact that if you own a gun, you're 7 times more likely to die by being shot dead, because most gun attacks take place in the home, and and that's when most women get shot. I mean, you've got your gangsters, you've got your gangster rappers who might go around shooting each other, young men. Obviously, it's the biggest cause of death for young men in America after suicide. Well, actually, no, it's not, because a lot of suicides are caused by guns. So, I mean, well, not caused by guns, facilitated by guns. So, the biggest cause of death of young men in America is gunshot wounds. But yeah, big cause of death of women is also being shot dead in the house, because there's an argument, and then the man gets all, let's say, Oscar Pistorius, the famous Paralympian who decided to become a murderer. Hope he never gets out. Did he get out? Let's stop being a dick to each other. Yeah, that's it. I'm getting revenge. Men do not need to pretend to be women to harm women. I really don't understand why this fear of trans people. Yeah, and also it's a slight against trans women saying they're pretending to be women. They're not. They are women. They are women. Trans women are women. It's like saying a black woman isn't a woman because she's black. She is. Yeah, but she doesn't have the same experience as a white woman. Well, maybe not. But then the white woman's not have the same experience as a black woman. And. Well, what about a woman who's never had a period, eh? What about a woman who's never had a period? Is she really a woman? Is she really, what about someone who's had to have a hysterectomy because they had cervical cancer or something? Are they a woman now? Are they a woman? What about a woman who's had breast cancer and she's had to have a mastectomy? Is she a woman now? Is she really a woman? This definition of a woman. You go, are you a woman? Yes. Okay, you're a woman. There you go. That's your definition right there. And then you got these horrible pig men like that Nick Ferrari creep, who every interview he does with like a Labour politician, he's got to go, can a woman have a penis? Can a woman have a penis? And you're like, oh, fuck off. Yes, they can. I mean, look at you, Nick Ferrari, you privately educated fucknut. You're a penis. I presume your mum had you. I'm a psych lecturer who has published on incel radicalisation after interviews with former incels, and would gladly come on if you want to discuss mental health, cultural and socio-economic causes. David, yes, absolutely, please get in touch. If you go to my website, which is grahamdavidhughes.com, if it's working at the moment, because we've had a real DDoS virus attack on all of my sites, because it's all one-for-one hierarchy. And we're getting it sorted now, but it's taking a long time. It's taking a long time. America, children get taught in school to hide under sorry, the screen moved. Under the desiccated cycle with the guns walked into the school. Also, America, let's laugh at the UK. Yeah. I'm still a bit shocked that during Olympics, non-existent trans athletes were discussed more than literal kiddie fiddler. Yes, facts. Really good point. There was, I think he was a Dutch volleyball player who was a convicted paedophile who had come to the UK after grooming a young woman, I think a young girl. She was only like 12 or 13. Came to the UK, he had sex with her, and he went to jail for it, but only for like a year, because is that really a crime? Like fucking up an entire person's life. And yeah, he was allowed to go and be at the Olympics without much of a fucking no one was talking about it. None of these people who defend women's rights to the hilt, none of them were freaking out about that. And yet they chose two cis female athletes, one of whom came from a country where if she was trans, she could be put in jail or worse, but effectively, executed, non-judicial execution. A country where being trans is illegal. And they were putting on, J.K. Rowling and Elon Musk and all these other gruesome bastards, gruesome billionaires, going on that this woman didn't look traditionally feminine enough, and therefore was actually a trans woman or a man, and it's just sickening. But it's the power they have, and they've got a huge audience, and we need to fight back. I can't emphasize this enough. We do have the people in place who can do this. We just need the money. We just need to get the foundation together, and get 8,000 people to pay £10 a month. That's what we need to get started. Commit to that for a year, and yeah, we could really start making a difference, and it will set it up so that YouTube don't take a huge chunk of the money themselves, and it's something that we really should build towards and use that to fight against Trump, fight against over in the States and what he's trying to pass on to us, fight against VFuck, fight against the Tory scum, fight against the Incel movement, fight against the transphobes, and present different channels for different people. Because what I would like it to also have, not just channels that we sponsor effectively, we pay the people to make the content, not just stuff that is overtly political, like the stuff that me and Tansky make. Like, we need to have stuff that's about cars, Maybe Rachel, she loves cars. She's so into cars. Like, I think Rachel should do a car channel. I think I'll talk to her about this when I get back. But, restoration of classic cars. But it's a trans woman who's doing it. That would be fucking brilliant. And she's charming and charismatic. It'd be really fun to do. I don't know if she'd be up for it, but have something where we do stuff on football. Like Gary Lineker would be brilliant for this. I don't know if we could get Gaza. Gaza? That's the wrong guy. That's a different footballer, Graham. I don't know if we could get Gary, but someone like that who maybe an ex-footballer who can talk about football, but in a woke way, and bring up things like, why aren't there any gay footballers? Like, why are so few footballers gay? I mean, there's what, 300 professional footballers, is it, in the Premier League? They can't all be straight. Statistically, they can't all be straight. And so have a channel about something else. Have it about like movie reviews or something, but have that sort of, what the other side would call the woke agenda, feeding into it. I think would be really, really, really effective, especially with getting younger people on board. Like movie reviews, TV stuff. If we could have something on the lines of Pitch Meeting meets Everything Wrong With meets, Commode and Mayo, which I never really understand. Why is it Commode? It's just Commode. It's just Mark Commode just talking. I met him once in a toilet, which was really funny. I was at a documentary festival in Sheffield, and I walked into the toilet at the pub that I was in, and Mark Commode was there having a wee. And I just went, Mark Commode. I'm so shit when I meet famous people. I just generally say their name loudly at them, which is probably so fucking irritating. But the fact that he was in the Commode, yeah, it made me laugh. Anyway, if you saw me again, he'd probably punch me. So you met Commode in a Commode. Yes, I did. California, man. Mark Commode. Yes, he was slowly transforming. Mark Commode, he's slowly transforming into the guy from Up, isn't he? Every time I see him, he's just becoming more like the guy from Up. He is gonna just one day float away in his house with all his balloons. Bye, Mark. Have a great adventure in South America. Enjoy the talking dogs. I just made a full script of this exact thing, and I work a lot with Gary and Mika and Alan. And no, the extinction rate has not eclipsed that of the KPG event, although it's indeed set to do that this century. Yes, I'm on about. I didn't say that we had actually. We're living through the extinction event at the moment. Anyway, so yeah, that's the dream. That's the dream. I think up till, there was a time when on this channel we were fighting against Brexit, and then we were fighting to get the Tories out. We've done that now. And now I think this is the next fight. This is the next thing that we have to work on together. If you can help in any way, I'll be trying to get onto Discord more. I can't really get on it here that much because my internet is limited, and I spend a lot of my internet streaming each day. When I'm actually out and about on the island, like during the day I'm working, and at night I've got no power because the batteries are fucked. So I'm living off solar power, so I have to charge everything during the day, and at night it's like all powering down slowly. So, and then in the morning, if my phone's down to like 20%, I can't do the show because it takes more than 20% of my battery power doing this show. Anyway, I only know regular toilet people. Ryan George is super easy, barely an inconvenience. Canada connections. Do you know what? I'd love to do two things, right? If I ever get to make a movie, one of the things that I want to do is have a scene in which a character goes through absolute fucking hell to do something, to get to this, like Andy Dufresne in Shawshank levels of hell to get to the objective, and then some other character says, oh my God, that would have been so difficult. And he turns around and says, no, actually, it was super easy, barely an inconvenience. And then like his arm falls off or something, like absolutely just to say hello to Ryan George. And then I would love to, if there's ever a newspaper, right, in Everything Wrong With, in CinemaSins, they always read what's in the newspaper. And I'd love to have a scene where there's a newspaper with like Batman Returns to Gotham or whatever the headline is. And then what the sideline is like CinemaSins suck their own dicks or something. And there's a whole article about CinemaSins slagging them off. And they'd watch it and go, oh my God, you cheeky bastard. I think that'd be so much fun. But yeah, shout out to CinemaSins. Graham's happy smile is tight. I was thinking about doing a movie review channel. Hey, Tansky, I'll do it with you. Yes, let's do that. I'm well up for doing a movie. I watch a lot of movies. Tansky's more into sort of art house films. I'm more into blockbuster kind of event movies, superhero movies, fantasy films, Lord of the Rings, and Tansky fucking hates them. So yeah, I think that would be a really cool movie review channel. Because what I was going to say about Commode and Mayo is like Mayo doesn't say anything. There's no back and forth. There's just nothing. And if Mayo does say something, it's just generally agreeing with Commode or saying like, yeah, I agree with, I agree with what you're saying, or like, oh, remember when you said this about that. And I just thought that'd be like really, really. Like a much better show would be two reviewers with very different takes on the same thing. Gaming, Ernie Burns, yeah, absolutely. Gaming, we should totally do gaming channels where we talk about politics while we're gaming. It's something that I'd love to do on Twitch, but it's not profitable enough to be able to do it. But that's something I would love to set up and do like Friday night games or something, where we just like, talk about shit and play video games at the same time. And if we do this kind of, idea where we are paid no matter what content we create, and we don't have to try and tailor our content towards a specific audience, we can just tailor it to putting that information out there, we'll do a lot better. I'd happily do a movie review and or retro gaming channel. Yeah, Tansky just wants to talk about Zelda, Ocarina of Time. What a game. What a game. I just want to talk about the old LucasArts games. Grim Fandango, best game ever. Anyway, Viva la Revolution, Manny. I will see you all tomorrow at 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. British time. I've got overtime a little bit. I've got some work to do. There's some clouds rolling in. Do you want to see the view? Do you want to see the view? I'll show you the view. Here's the view. Here's the island. That way. That's the island that way. And that's my floating donut thing that I think I put. This is the view. This is the view this morning. It's a bit overcast and it's quite windy. Brilliant. it's all wet. So it's not always sunny here. It's usually sunny. It looks like it's going to absolutely piss down this afternoon. So let's go shovel some soil. And thanks for the chats. Thanks for the super chats. And all being well, I will see you this time. 1 o'clock p.m. GMT tomorrow. I'm just going to read Tansky's review of Lord of the Rings. Shit in it. Yeah, little people. What's all that about? Wankers. Right. Yeah, that's Lord of the Rings. Perfect. Anyway, listen, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, hello, good evening, welcome, and